In that beige garage is a multi-million-dollar hole in the ground, and we're about to stuff ourselves into it.
The wife of the infamous Mexican drug lord known as El Chapo was released from federal custody today. She served nearly 2 years.
On January 8th, 2016, at 4:30 a.m., Los Mochis, a quiet coastal town in Sinaloa, Mexico, jolted awake in chaos. Mexican Marines smashed through the front door of a modest house on Boulevard Jiquilpan. Wood splinters scattered like shrapnel across the porch, glass shattered in a jagged burst that echoed down the empty street, and gunfire ripped through the pre-dawn stillness with the force of a sudden thunderstorm. Arriba!
This dramatic footage of the raid on a house that led to the arrest of the drug boss Joaquín El Chapo Guzmán was released by the Mexican government on Monday. The soldiers involved wore cameras as they blasted their way through the dwelling in Los Mochis in Sinaloa, exchanging gunfire with Guzmán's henchmen, 5 of whom were killed in the raid. It's an insight into one of the world's most wanted drug traffickers who seem to like to mix truth with fiction. The Marines found DVDs of Reina del Sur, or Queen of the South, a TV series about a female drug lord. It stars Mexican actress Kate del Castillo, the woman who led Sean Penn to interview Guzmán. This is the secret door and stairs hidden behind a mirror, down which Guzmán fled before the soldiers eventually located and arrested him. He's wanted in the United States, and the Mexican government has said it will start formal extradition proceedings, although legal experts have indicated that the process could be a lengthy one.
Inside, Joaquín Guzmán Loera, known as El Chapo, the most wanted drug lord in the world, bolted down a dimly lit hallway, his boots hammering the cracked tile, breath coming in sharp, ragged gasps that bounced off the peeling walls. His empire, built on billions in narcotics profits, countless deaths, and a legacy of defiance spanning decades, teetered on the brink. This is the story of how the FBI, working hand in glove with Mexican authorities, finally brought down El Chapo, a farmer's son who clawed his way to the pinnacle of a global cartel, escaped prison twice with audacious ingenuity, and met his end in a relentless manhunt that echoed from Sinaloa's dusty hills to the concrete corridors of Washington, D.C. El Chapo's journey began in Badiraguato, Sinaloa, amid the rugged Sierra Madre Mountains. Born around December 25, 1954, or possibly April 4, 1957, dates shrouded in uncertainty due to his secretive life, he grew up in crushing poverty. His father, Emilio Guzmán Bustillos, tended scrawny cattle and grew marijuana on a rocky patch, scraping by in a one-room shack with a dirt floor, no plumbing, and a leaky tin roof that rattled in the wind. Emilio's temper flared like wildfire, his fists delivering harsh, frequent lessons to Joaquín and his 6 siblings, Arturo, Miguel, Aureliano, Emilio Jr., Armida, and Bernarda. Food was scarce. Beans and tortillas stretched thin across 7 hungry mouths, supplemented by Joaquín scavenging roots or snaring rabbits with makeshift traps, his small frame hardened by hunger and toil. School ended after 3rd grade in 1963 or 64. He hauled water from a distant creek a mile away on foot, or picked beans under a blistering sun, hands calloused beyond his years, blisters forming under the unrelenting heat. By 12, he dodged his father's blows with a quick step. Learning pain was weakness leaving the body, dreaming of a life beyond the dirt under his nails.
Recuerdo de 6 años para acá, mis papás, una familia muy humilde, muy pobres. Recuerdo que mi mamá hacía pan para el sustento de la familia. Yo lo vendía naranjas, vendía refrescos, vendía dulces. Mi mamá, muy trabajadora, trabajaba mucho. Sembrábamos maíz, frijol, cuidaba el ganado de mi abuela y
At 15, in 1972, Emilio's final beating drove him out, too headstrong to tolerate. He landed with his grandfather, Tranquilino Guzman, in La Tuna, a hamlet 10 miles away, where poppy fields bloomed red, their vibrant petals a stark contrast to the gray desperation. There, El Chapo, Shorty, a taunt from his 5'6" stature, planted his first marijuana crop, small patches tucked between boulders and scrub, near winding trails, tended with the boy's eager hands, selling it for pesos at roadside cantinas off Highway 24, his dark eyes burning with ambition. By the late 1970s, El Chapo was running marijuana for Pedro Aviles Perez, then joined Hector Luis Palma Salazar, mastering the trade's brutal economics. A kilo of weed worth 50 in Mexico fetched 500 in the US, a profit worth killing for. His first blood came in 1978, shooting a rival mule over a $1,000 load near Guasave, leaving the body in a ditch with flies buzzing, a grim initiation into violence that marked his ascent. By the early 1980s, he joined Miguel Ángel Félix Gallardo, the godfather of the Guadalajara cartel, orchestrating cocaine drops with rusty Cessnas landing on makeshift Sinaloa airstrips under cover of night and plotting smuggling routes through Sonora's deserts, building a reputation for relentless efficiency and ruthless precision. When Felix was arrested in 1989 for DEA agent Enrique Kiki Camarena's murder, El Chapo seized the chaos, partnering with Palma to birth the Sinaloa cartel. By 1995, it flooded the U.S. with $3 billion in drugs annually. Cocaine hauled from Colombia in fishing boats with false bottoms and private planes. Marijuana harvested from Mexico's hills, stuffed into tractor trailers with hollowed-out frames. And heroin cooked from Sinaloa's poppy fields in jungle shacks where propane burners hissed day and night, guarded by sicarios with AK-47s. El Chapo's wealth soared. He built sprawling haciendas with marble floors and infinity pools overlooking the Pacific, guarded by sicarios and German shepherds, a private zoo in Culiacan with pacing tigers, roaring lions, and a pet jaguar behind gilded bars, a menagerie fed by his endless cash flow, and a yacht dubbed Chapito with gold-trimmed furniture and a crew of loyalists ready to kill at a nod. But power bred enemies. On May 24, 1993, the Tijuana cartel, led by the Arellano Felix brothers, Ramon, Benjamin, and Francisco, ambushed him at Guadalajara International Airport, mistakenly killing Cardinal Juan Jesus Posadas Ocampo in a hail of 9mm rounds, blood pooling on the sun-baked tarmac as screams filled the air. El Chapo fled to Guatemala, holing up in a stucco safe house near Tapachula, guarded by 6 sicarios with Uzis and a stash of $200,000 buried in the backyard, but was captured on June 9, 1993, by a Guatemalan border guard, tipped by the DEA for $50,000, cursing as cuffs tightened under a blazing sun. Sentenced to 20 years and 9 months in Puente Grande prison, he wasn't subdued. Puente Grande became his kingdom. By 1993, El Chapo bribed guards with $2.5 million, turning his cell into a luxury suite with weekly conjugal visits, steak dinners smuggled in laundry carts, cooked rare by a guard moonlighting as a chef, and contraband Motorola flip phones stashed under his mattress, swapped weekly by a cleaner on the take. On December 24, 1998, he hosted a Christmas party behind bars, with mariachis blaring Las Mañanitas, tequila flowing from plastic bottles hidden in a guitar case, and guards turning blind eyes after pocketing $10,000 each in crisp peso stacks. He ran Sinaloa from his bunk, ordering hits like Ramon Arellano Felix's 1997 murder in Mazatlan for $50,000, shifting cocaine routes to Sonora after a 1996 bust, and keeping cash flowing through Culiacan banks via couriers like his brother Arturo, who visited monthly with coded ledgers. But extradition loomed. On January 19, 2001, at 7 p.m., he escaped in a laundry cart, aided by guard Francisco El Chito Camacho for $500,000, vanishing into the Sierra Madre on a dirt bike, dust kicking up as he sped past Giacome's scrub brush, mocking the world with a grin. For 13 years, El Chapo reigned as a phantom king. By 2014, Sinaloa's operations, cocaine sewn into car seats at San Isidro, heroin tucked in shoe soles at El Paso, meth in fake produce crates at Laredo, pumped $3 billion yearly into the U.S., baffling DEA logistics teams. Forbes named him a billionaire in 2009, though he slammed it as lies in a smuggled note to his lawyer, Jose Luis Gonzalez Meza. His face stayed hidden, rumored to have had a nose job in 1997 and cheek implants in 1999, but he dined openly in Culiacan taquerias, like Mariscos El Güero, sipping micheladas with a gold-plated .45 tucked in his jeans, a folk hero to some, his legend growing with every sighting. He built a dynasty with sons Ivan, Jesus Alfredo, and Ovidio, and wife Emma Coronel, an 18-year-old beauty queen he married in 2007 at a ranch ceremony in La Angostura.
The wife of the infamous Mexican drug lord known as El Chapo was released from federal custody today. She served nearly 2 years in a Texas prison and a California halfway house for helping to run his multi-billion-dollar cartel. The former teen beauty queen will now serve 4 years of supervised release. El Chapo, who twice escaped from prison, is serving a life sentence at a supermax prison in Colorado.
Who bore twins Maria Joaquina and Emali in 2011 under fake names in a Lancaster, California hospital. Yet the hunt tightened. In 2006, President Felipe Calderón unleashed Mexico's drug war, killing 120,000 by 2014, and the U.S. offered a $5 million bounty, dubbing him Chicago's public enemy #1 in 2013. Operation Black Swan, launched in 2012, tapped his BlackBerry network, tracing lieutenants' burner phones bought in Culiacan markets. On February 22, 2014, Marines raided a Mazatlan condo at 6:40 a.m. El Chapo, shirtless and bleary, surrendered at 6:47 a.m. without a shot, sent to Altiplano, Mexico's toughest prison. But on July 11, 2015, at 8:52 p.m., he escaped again. A 1.5-kilometer tunnel, lit with electric lights, ventilated, and equipped with a motorcycle on rails, dug for $3 million in bribes from a farmhouse in Santa Maria, Zacatepec.
We are going on a journey deep underground at the U.S.-Mexico border into the tangle of tunnels used to traffic not only drugs but also high-level drug kingpins themselves. Nearly 200 of these tunnels have been discovered, and ABC's Matt Gutman takes us now for an up-close look.
In that beige garage is a multi-million-dollar hole in the ground, and we're about to stuff ourselves into it.
My God, is it dark and claustrophobic in here, and this is terrifying.
We are the only news team ever to go down that hole.
So that's the spike that my head nearly just went through.
Crab walking our way down a giant former drug smuggling tunnel between the U.S. and Mexico. One of the ways that tens of billions of dollars of drugs are trafficked into the U.S. every year.
To his shower stall in cell 20. Surveillance caught him pacing at 8:50 p.m., then dropping into the hole at 8:52, emerging a mile away at 9:05 p.m. on an ATV, taunting Mexico with a tweet from his son, Ivan Archivaldo Guzmán Salazar. Catch me if you can. For 6 months, he hid in Sinaloa's Golden Triangle, evading raids with 50 Sicarios and M16s. His ego tripped him on October 2, 2015, meeting Sean Penn and Kate Del Castillo for a Rolling Stone interview in a Sinaloa jungle near Cozalá, brokered over tacos and tequila, his phone signals traced to Los Mochis. On January 8, 2016, at 4:30 a.m., Marines stormed his Los Mochis hideout. 5 gunmen died in a firefight as El Chapo fled to a tunnel under a closet, crawling through reeking sewers with Lieutenant Jose Cholo Ivan Sanchez. He stole a red Volkswagen Jetta at gunpoint from a terrified mechanic racing toward Highway 15. At 8:47 a.m., a roadblock stopped him. 40 Marines cuffed him as Univision's chopper broadcasted his fall, his empire crumbling. Extradited to the U.S. on January 19, 2017, El Chapo faced trial in Brooklyn starting November 5, 2018. Witnesses, including Mistress Lucia Coronel and Lieutenant Damaso Lopez, arrested in 2017, testified to 12 tons of cocaine monthly, $100 million in bribes to federales from 2005 to 2014, and brutal murders, like a brother tortured with pliers over a $5 million debt, screams echoing in a Sinaloa barn. His wife, Emma Coronel, watched stoically from the gallery, her twin daughters, Maria Joaquina and Imali, behind bulletproof glass, while sons Ivan, Jesus Alfredo, and Ovidio ran Sinaloa from Culiacan safe houses, their operations untouched. On February 12, 2019, after 34 hours, the jury found him guilty on all 10 counts: drug trafficking, murder conspiracy, and money laundering. On July 17, 2019, Judge Brian Cogan sentenced him to life plus 30 years, with a $12.6 billion forfeiture, locking him in 80X Florence, Colorado's Supermax, in a 6x12-foot cell in H Unit for 23 hours a day, buried alive in concrete silence 1,400 miles from Sinaloa's sun. El Chapo's down, but Sinaloa endures. His sons, Ivan, Jesus Alfredo, Ovidio, and Ismael El Mayo Zambada, now 76 in 2025, keep the cartel alive, moving $10 billion yearly through Tijuana tunnels and Nogales trucks, their operations as precise as ever, flooding cities from Los Angeles to Chicago. Ovidio's 2019 arrest in Culiacan sparked Culiacanazo, killing 14, but he was released to stop the carnage, later extradited to Chicago in 23 after a fierce standoff. The FBI won a battle, but the drug war rages on, a hydra with endless heads. From Sinaloa's dirt to a Supermax cell, El Chapo's tale burns bright. A king's rise, a king's ruin, a legacy that won't die. This was how the FBI took down El Chapo, a farmer turned billionaire, an escape artist undone by his myth.